If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 355 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. As you can see, it is a pink out as we are going to be celebrating and talking about the fantastic day of racing this Friday, 2024 Kentucky Oaks Day, featuring a tremendous all-grade stakes, late pick 5 plus 2 stakes even before the pick 5, 7 graded stakes in total. We're going to talk about all of them right here. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. After you do that, smash that like button below the video player, and I mean smash it hard. And then in the top right-hand corner of YouTube, please hit that notification bell so that you know when new content will arise. You can follow me on X right there at HKravitz. Scrolling bottom of the screen is my email, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. You can listen to this show as a replay on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Derby shows, not too many left. We've got tonight. We've got another one with the Betting and Boozing Boys. Really fun show tonight here Tuesday night as we're filming live at 9 p.m. Eastern. They're going to talk about a lot of horizontal bets, 2-day wagers, and a lot of bets going into the Derby. So please make sure you stick around after our show, grab some dinner, relax, and then hop back on at 9 p.m. Eastern for the Betting and Boozing Boys. And then tomorrow, Wednesday night, we have our final 2 shows. The Betting and Boozing guys will be talking about the stakes undercard races, and then myself, Pete, and Paul will talk about the fantastic late pick 5 that ends, of course, in the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. You can check out everything on our website and our YouTube page. If you'd like to subscribe to our Power Picks tip sheet, you don't have as much time for this weekend. I would respectfully ask that if you'd like to join our Power Picks family for this weekend specifically, you try to do it before Wednesday night, midnight. I'll be traveling to Kentucky for the Derby, and I want to make sure we get it out to you without any administrative issues. It's a fantastic tip sheet. It's going to be around 10 pages each day, Friday and Saturday, for only $4. That you heard that correctly. The dramatic pause. It's only $16 for the entire month, and we're not upcharging at all for the Oaks and Derby. So our package is $4 for the whole weekend, not $25, not $30, not $50, not even $15. $4. What are you waiting for? Look below the video player, sign up through Patreon. You can also sign up for a yearly subscription, which is really the best way to go because it is discounted. So check that out below the video player. We're going to give pick 4s, pick 5s, ABC grids, spot plays, price plays, long shots, you name it. You're going to want to look into the Power Picks, especially for this weekend. We got a great website. It's right there, hhhracingpodcast.com, and of course, Instagram.com as well. All right, let's get right into it. We have a great show, and to help me out, of course, are my fantastic, loyal, hardworking, trusty co-hosts from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran, and from the East Coast of Maryland, Mr. Pete Visco. Guys, how are we doing tonight?
Good. What's going on, guys?
Doing good. We got some big news. Let's get this out of the way real quick. First of all, as we're filming this here Tuesday night, Encino for Godolphin is out of the Kentucky Derby. Hopefully he's going to be fine. It does not sound like a major issue. I read 30 days today, Paul, hopefully, and then he'll be back at it. But what it does, and we're going to talk about this a lot more tomorrow night, guys, it brings in an AE. Where have I heard this before? And we will talk about Epic Ride tomorrow. We're not going to we're not going to get Rich striked and just and forget about the horse completely. But what it does, Pete and Paul, and we'll talk more tomorrow, he's one of the fastest early horses by Timeform US, breaking outside of fierceness from the 20. He's got to send hard. Might this change the pace even a little bit?
Nah.
Paul, Pete says no. Paul says maybe.
Oh, no. The pace today got a lot quicker on two fronts, and we'll talk more tomorrow night. But if I watched T.O. Password work today on TV, obviously, on the internet, obviously, And I have a fairly strong opinion that horse is going to be ridden very aggressively early. And he, too, will help to quicken the pace for our favorite closer.
Okay, well, we're going to talk a lot more tomorrow, guys, about it, but we will show the epic ride PPs. We know stranger things have happened, so we will show that. There is
More
one.
importantly, we get epic ride on our fantasy team, Paul.
We do, Pete. Yes,
Dude,
I've
how do you guys
made the
feel about that?
change.
That's more of like a lateral move, or are you disappointed?
No, it's a downward move.
Oh, it's
like
downward.
downward by.
Encino had a shot. I thought Encino
Yeah.
could win it
Oh, wow.
in a perfect world.
Well,
Yeah.
the rest of the
Yeah,
fantasy
we now
team,
have two horses. We have two horses out of 6 feet with no shot, but we do have the winner of the Oaks. So
the rest of the fantasy team players and contestants are absolutely heartbroken by the fact that you've now downgraded. But you guys knew that going in, right? You knew that Encino might scratch. I mean, you never knew if he was going in the first place when you drafted him. So sort of goes with the territory. But anyway, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. There is one more AE that we're going to mention as well tomorrow, just in case. All right, guys. But tonight we're going to talk about Friday. And I want to give a shout out to Churchill Downs for a minute. People can say they do a lot of things right. They do a lot of things wrong. They do a great job, guys, of bringing breast cancer awareness to this day on Friday. They have like a parade for a lot of the women, who either currently have had breast cancer or unfortunately have succumbed to breast cancer. And guys, it affects everyone. You don't have to be female to be affected by breast cancer. Everyone, I'm sure you guys, I know people that have been affected by breast cancer, not only the person that has the disease, but family members. So I do want to give a shout out to Churchill Downs for bringing awareness to breast cancer. And frankly, there are many other days that, breast cancer and other cancers and illnesses should be brought to bear. But I just wanted to mention that. Guys, we're going to quickly talk about the 2 races before the late pick 5. And when I say late pick 5, got to be careful because it's a pick 5 for the last 5 races of the day. There's actually, I believe, 5 pick 5s or 4 pick 5s or some insane amount. But we're going to be focusing on the all graded stakes late pick 5 that ends in the Kentucky Oaks. But before we do that, guys, let me bring on the screen in just a second here race 5, because race 5 and 6 are outside of the pick 5 that we're going to be discussing. And let me take that banner off, guys. This race, one of many great races this weekend, actually a smaller field, one of the smaller grade stakes field. I think it is the smallest graded stakes field of the entire weekend. But guys, wow. I mean, there it is, the grade 1, the La Troienne. It's $1 million purse, mile and 16th for the older fillies and mares. And there are 3 monsters that are coming back off of layoffs. The number 4 Idiomatic Breeders' Cup Distaff champion, pretty mischievous last year's Kentucky Oaks champion, and then Kajira, who was absolutely on fire at the end of the year. We don't have picks for everyone on the screen. We'll just talk briefly about this race. I'm not going to show the PPs either, guys. I want to move on to the all stakes late pick 5. But Paul, your quick thoughts on the La Troienne Friday?
I think it might be as good as any race as far as talent. I get it. The Oaks is loaded, but as far as these 3 horses, Zajera at the end of the year last year, I think might have been running as well as any 3-year-old filly. Pretty mischievous, as you said, won the Oaks, and we believe has been training very well into this race. And Idiomatic was the female champ, right? So, and Idiomatic got some, I think got a few Horse of the Year votes, if I'm not mistaken. So, this race is loaded. I'm going to go with Pretty Mischievous. I'm going to hope that if we can get Idiomatic, it's off the long layoff and maybe in a field like this. I think even with her speed, I think she's better at 1 1/8 miles. Meeting that speed out. This is 1 mile and a 16th, which I think is a very good distance for Pretty Mischievous. So I would go 5, 6, 4 here.
Okay. Pete, before I get your picks, our fans have been so awesome. I cannot thank everyone enough out there, whether you're watching live, whether you're listening live, whether you watch or listen as replays. Guys, we've had literally every show we put out for the Derby and Oaks has had thousands, and I say plural, thousands of views. The live viewership, guys, has been tremendous. We got a lot of great people here. I just brought up a bunch of names. There's Tanner Hawkins is here. Hello, everyone. What a week this is. TC Markham, I'm sorry, buddy. He said I spent a fortune in the Breeders' Cup betting against Idiomatic. That was actually one of my stronger plays, guys, in the BCBC betting contest last year. But sorry, TC. Maybe TC, you can get your money back on Idiomatic this Friday. And then we mentioned, Vashan is here mentioning about Kajira all the way, always loved her. Well, this horse won't be on the lead, Vashan. I'm 99% positive about that. But Kajira could win, Pete. I've got her second. What are your thoughts in La Troienne?
Yeah, I mean, right now I had it Idiomatic, Zajira, pretty mischievous, but I'm still sort of wavering between Idiomatic and Zajira. I feel like in a small field, sometimes the speed can get away, and if Idiomatic can do that and back it down, then I think she can hold them off, especially because they all are coming off the layoff, like Paul said. So maybe none of them are going to be super sharp, so she could just, it could turn into a merry-go-round. I guess it depends on what Dorth Vader does from the 7. If she goes, maybe that softens Idiomatic up, but she's so tough when you give her the lead. It's hard to go against her, but I think hopefully these 3 are just great the whole year, and we get a couple of these, and it leads all the way through to the distaff.
Yeah, I hope they have a great campaign. The time to get them is today. The problem is I don't love any of the others. You try to get cute, but I like Taxed a little bit the last time, but she just didn't run well enough. It looks like it's going to be one of these 3. We'll see who's going to win the La Troienne. It'll be a great race. Let's talk about race 6, guys. I just scroll right down the screen here. Race 6 is the Unbridled Sydney. They're on the turf, hopefully. 5.5 furlongs. We'll talk about that in just a second as I see Paul roll his eyes off screen. But hey, this is a fun race. I'm not a huge fan of turf sprints. I think people that watch the show know that. I just think they're difficult. There's a horse in this race, guys, that has some figs that are just insane. The number 2, Overcharged, has run some unbelievably huge buyers in her last 2 with very light work tab. This is a strange horse. I'm sure the horse is exercising and whatnot. Maybe she's a little fragile. I don't know. But Overcharged is very fast. And to be honest, guys, towers over the field if she can run her last 2 races. Pete, what was your thought about this race?
Yeah, it's interesting. Already Overcharge has been sort of a hot topic on the Twitter sphere or the X sphere or whatever the hell you call it now. But it's been a hot topic. But yeah, you can't really, it's hard to look past those if you're a figure player, it's hard to look past those numbers. I always like to be the person who points this out. Hasn't been off Lasix in quite a bit, if ever. I don't even remember. I didn't even look. I forget if I look back. Yeah, back in the 3rd start in the victory ride, ran 2nd off Lasix, but it's been a long time, so you never know how that's going to affect a horse. Shane Wilson is 0 for 6, by the way, switching a horse off Lasix. So if you're looking to beat a horse, but Overcharged at 7-2, I know we don't like to talk morning line odds too much on here. That surprised me just from a figure standpoint. Figure that horse would take just tons of money. I like Tony Yan, the 10, even though even that was the horse I put, not to spoil our power picks. That was the horse I put on top, even though D'Amato is 1 for 34 on the turf at Churchill. So if I'm going to go against that, take my boy Pratt and see if we can't get Tony Ann to come up at a price.
Paul, your quick thoughts on the Unbridled Sydney.
I am dying to bet against this too. I might get up extra early Friday morning just to do it and make sure I don't sleep through it.
Is there a particular reason?
I think the competition has been, uber, I guess. And look, 113 is a 113, but on this type of day and these type of fields, this is the type of horse. And I don't think, to your point, Howard, I don't think there's any way this horse goes as high as 7-2 with all those ones and the 113.
No, isn't 9 to 5, Paul? Right, 9 to 5.
Yeah, I was going to say no more than 5-2, but yeah, you're probably closer than me. Yeah, I'm happy to get beat by this horse and clap for Louisiana. I like the 9 as a price. Just got hopelessly far behind last time in the Giants Causeway at Keeneland. Was a good race. We liked Roses for Deborah a lot in that race, and I think the 9 gets the pace to run at and picks them all up in this race.
I do want to mention, before I bring up a very important comment in the chat from our good friend Matt Miller, I want to mention everyone listening and watching, again, as we're filming here live on Tuesday night, I will have full card analysis of the Friday Kentucky Oaks Day, full card ABC grid on the Power Picks tip sheet this Friday. And not only that, Pete and Paul will give their all stakes. So that's going to be races, what, 7 through, I'm going to make a mistake
No,
now.
five.
No, five
through
through
11.
11.
Of course, we're talking about right now.
Yep.
It's been a long week, guys, already. Races 5 through 11, Paul and Pete will have their ABC grids as well. And our entire podcast crew, including the Ben and Boozin guys, we all are going to be giving picks on both days. Again, the Power Picks tip sheet is a must as far as I'm concerned if you want to get some great information. Guys, we got a comment from Matt Miller, our good friend Matt Miller. Okay, if thousands of people are watching, not watching right now, Matt, but eventually, obviously, people will be watching as replays. We get thousands. Be ready for my book. Publication date might be tomorrow. Wow, that would be Wednesday, May 1st. We'll come on the show to talk about it and where to get it. Congratulations, Matt. Really excited for you, man. Again, if you're not familiar with Matt Miller, you might, and he is one of the best contest players in the world. He's been very successful in several BCBCs, and he also has great tips about just betting and life in general. To be honest, it's a fantastic book. I've read it. We are mentioning it, guys, as a podcast. And so it's very cool. Matt, we're really excited for you. We will get that information out to everyone when that information becomes available.
Yeah, we'll put a link on the website too, just so
Yes.
it's easily accessible for everyone. We'll throw it on the
Absolutely.
front page.
I don't know. I have overcharged on top, but I hear you, Paul. I might. I'll tell you what, based on your opinion, I might have to change it. But I sort of like AG Bullet a little bit to upset coming from California. I'm not a big fan of California horses shipping east, but I like the fact he's gone 6.5, guys, and this is a cutback. And I don't like cutbacks in general on the turf, but 6.5 to 5.5 is a much less of a cutback than, let's say, a mile to 5.5 or something. So I think AG Bullet with Baltus and Rispoli is very well meant in this race, and if the horse takes to the Churchill Downs turf, I think could be dangerous. Now,
Cross-centered too on Saturday. AG Bullet is cross-centered on Saturday. Actually,
really?
2 horses in this race: AG Bullet, and I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head. I thought there was 2. Maybe I'm thinking of another race. There were 2 horses in the stakes races that are cross-centered. That's one of them. So
Okay.
I noticed it because I think I had that horse maybe in 3rd. So I noticed. Yeah, I don't remember what race though.
All right, this is everyone's
Actually,
favorite.
Pete, if one was in a filly race and one was in a colt race, would they have to be cross-dressed too?
Probably. Yes, you have to. Yes, I think you have to do that, right? Or else you're not allowed in anymore.
I don't know why I feel I need to have a beverage, but
well, you
you
did call overcharged by the way, so you should drink.
Did I really?
You did. I forgot to call it out. I was reading something.
Man. Well, then that's
6-year-old man
right there. Everyone at home, if you're not familiar with the show, when you misgender, grab your favorite beverage, alcoholic or otherwise, and enjoy a little sip.
Too bad we didn't have a horse named Bruce Jenner. Then we couldn't be wrong.
Wow. Okay. Well, this show is taking a little turn.
You do a few shows in a row, and Paul just eventually starts teetering off the rails. It just can't help himself. So
well,
I can't
you love it, don't you?
Oh, it's my
favorite.
favorite.
You have that wine glass nearby, Paul, that you had for the Kentucky Derby show?
I'm drinking iced coffee, actually.
All right. The guys, this is your
I got to stay up and handicap 322 more races for my uncle.
I hear you. Guys, I haven't even looked at the Saturday card. And you know me, I'm a little nuts. I mean, I haven't had time. I'll start looking at it after the show. I hear there's a big race in race 12 or something. I think it's the Derby.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, guys, this is your favorite segment of the entire show. It's going to be for literally 20 seconds. There's a 70% chance of rain Friday. We're only 72 hours out. I know, Pete. I hear you. Who knows what's going to happen? It might not rain at all. I have a feeling it will. It doesn't look like it's going to be a deluge all day. It could be spotty thunderstorms, but it looks like they are going to get rain throughout the day. Saturday looks better. It looks like rain in the morning and then clearing up in the afternoon. You guys know that track dries very quickly. I would expect a fast track for a fast dirt course for the Derby. But in terms of Friday, it's going to be a little spotty. The only race that might be taken off the turf, unless it's really bad, guys, would be race 4. That's the only turf race on Friday that is not a stake race. I wouldn't be shocked if that one's taken off if they get a lot of rain. But there aren't a lot of, main track onlys in the turf stakes we're going to talk about, guys. So unless it's unsafe, they're going to run on the turf. I just want to let everyone know to perhaps handicap for wet dirt and a wetter turf course. Although, again, today, Tuesday, and tomorrow, Wednesday, at Churchill, it's been warm and sunny, and they haven't run on it much. So the turf course still might be, if it's wet, it might not be that bad a condition really anyway. All right, moving on. Sorry, that was 45 seconds.
No, I didn't hear it. I blanked out as soon as you said weather. I sort of started spacing.
He's like, what? We're back on the air?
I missed it all. Yeah, we're back. Good.
All right, guys, here we go. Race 7. This is the start, ladies and gentlemen, of the all grade stakes late pick 5 on Friday. I have some history with this bet that I will share with people because this is one of my favorite bets of the entire year for one specific reason. It starts in the Alysheba, race 7, grade 2. This is actually the boys. $750,000, a mile of 16th on the dirt. There's the field of 10. Pretty heavy morning line favorite in the number 3, First Mission. Cox, Giroux got back on the beam last time. We all have First Mission. Pete, what do you like about this very talented horse who was very nice to see bounce back after a complete disaster for not only the horse, but for yours truly, because I used it very heavily in the Pegasus betting challenge, and he was just absolutely awful. But he did run very well in the Essex and might be on his way to big things this year.
Yeah, I never know what to make of this horse, in all honesty, and you could see that it even though he hasn't really done anything wrong except for the run in the Pegasus that you're talking about, but for some reason he always just leaves me a little lukewarm. And again, I think this field, it didn't come up the best. So in this field, if he can keep progressing, he's clearly, I think, the best horse, and he's the horse that we keep waiting to, sort of take a hold of the older handicap division. So I don't have a lot to say. I think he works his trip. If he gets his trip where he's sort of sitting second, third, even fourth, somewhere around there, and he can get first run at whoever's on the lead, I think he just makes sense. It's just the fact that, I don't know. He doesn't beat the last field. The Essex was pretty weak. It was kind of soft field. He did what he was supposed to do. He beat them handily, which is what you want to see. He came away with a nice figure. So hopefully things are looking up. I know that this is a little bit of a warm soliloquy about him, but I don't know. He always leaves me lukewarm, but I just think he's probably the best horse in this race, and that's what it comes down to.
Paul, did Pete just say soliloquy?
I did. You know that?
I like it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is multisyllabic and very
that
impressive.
I probably won't have
that might be one of the more impressive vocab words you've used in the history of the show.
Yeah, that's the end. On. That's for the year now. There's no more.
Wow.
Yeah,
now you have to explain to about a quarter of the audience what the hell that means.
Yeah, I don't know. It was in a calendar maybe today, and that's why I saw
it's a good bit. Paul could explain it. Paul, First Mission, you're going with this horse also.
Yeah, I think this horse is good. I can't explain the Pegasus either, Howard. It's one of those, it might be a cliche, but it's one of those too bad to be trues, whether it was Gulfstream or whatever. And, the field comes back pretty good. National Treasure has proven to be a real tough customer. National Treasure was, coming off that Breeders' Cup near miss. Senior Buscador goes on to win the Saudi Cup. But, other than that, it's nothing but wins and seconds. And, hasn't beaten, to Pete's point, the greatest fields. But, that was a pretty damn good second in the clock. Now, he lost to a horse he's got to deal with on Saturday in Trademark, who's actually my other A in the race. But I do think First Mission can kind of control this race on his own terms.
Yeah, I just showed the pace projector. It's supposed to be fast, and First Mission is supposed to be stalking on the inside, and I agree with that. You mentioned Trademark the 10, who Pete has in second. So this horse is very inconsistent, but when he fires, he can fire big. I don't love the outside post for him. I don't have him in the mix, but I understand what you guys are saying.
Likes Churchill, Howard. That's the
he
one
loves
thing.
Churchill.
He loves
absolutely
Churchill.
Loves Churchill.
So, you put him here, maybe it moves him up a little bit. But the 10, I was teetering on him, putting him on top, but the 10 scared me a little because I thought First Mission would just work out a better trip from the 3-hole.
No, Trademark has run some big races, guys. He's really an overachiever. Now, let me make a few comments about what you guys said. First of all, first mission, Cox was quoted as saying that he did not handle the Gulfstream strip. Now, a lot of trainers say that. I don't know, but he was really bad in that race. Just way too bad to believe. So I have to believe that is the fact they just didn't, for some reason, handle the service that day. And it was a little bit off a layup. I just think he's got a big upside, guys. And I love this 4-year-old horse. Of course, Paul, you and I saw him win the Lexington in person when you won the Grade 1 Gamble on April 15th of 23. I like this horse a lot. Guys, I want to throw out a horse that I think is very interesting. And that Matt Miller's ears just went boop when Howard says very interesting. Call Me Fast. Now, hear me out, guys. Okay. It's interesting that that's his name because he's actually fast late and not early. There are not a lot of closers in this race. And you guys know, for better, for worse, I like this angle. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. If you go back, guys, in the summer of last year, he is just as good as anyone in this field. He was barely losing to Rattle and Roll. Remember how good Rattle and Roll got last summer? I mean, he's running a 98, 99. Now, maybe he tailed off the end of the year because, he was getting tired. It was a long year. I don't really know. The Charlestown is a weird track. And then last time when Bo Cruz won the Commonwealth, and some of you that name might sound familiar because I was lucky enough to tout that horse at 12-1 on our power picks and won. That was a weirdly run Commonwealth, if you guys remember. It was a really slow pace. No one really closed. So people might see the 87 and say, Howard, you're nuts. If he can get back to last year and just takes back and makes one run, this is going to be a big time reverse tri-key horse in this race for me. Because you know what, guys? Other than First Mission, no one really scares me. I mean, they're all a lot of the same horses, right? And this is one of them, and he's 20-1. And oh, by the way, gets Flavian. Am I nuts, guys? I think this horse could at least clunk up for second or third. And if he won, it wouldn't completely shock me. I'm using him on Friday. Quick thoughts on this horse, then we'll move on.
Yeah, I threw him he was sort of on the C line-ish for me as somebody who could sort of clunk up and get in the try.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy, Howard. I do think there's a race. Is it Saturday that a lot of horses are coming out of this Commonwealth? Yes. I think that was a weak rendition. Philosophically, I'm going to be against the horses coming out of the Commonwealth. Although for this horse, it was clearly only a prep. As far as the one run, I just think I don't know how fast the pace he's going to have to close into because I think First Mission, despite what time form says, I think he's going to control it pretty much on his own way. But yeah, I think this horse is okay. Sure.
I just have to show our boy from last year, guys. Tapatrice is coming back. I only saw one workout. I'm a little bit against him. Wow, Paul doesn't.
That's the Tapatrice, not for you.
Okay, all right. I just want to clarify. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I just want to show Tapatrice. That was our future Derby horse.
I mean, a mile and a 16th has got to be a prep, right, Howard, for him?
You would think so. It sure feels that way. Yeah, I think he's got bigger fish to fry late in the year, but it is an aggressive spot. I mean, Todd could run him back in a lot of places, and he decides to run him back here on Derby days or Derby weekend. I don't think he's there to embarrass the horse. So and gets
kind of like Irad. I kind of like Irad fits his style too, where Irad's good with the he knows how to time the closers. Yeah. So maybe that'll move that horse up a bit.
I just want to show there's a lot of El Miracolo, Tumbaramba. It's a really nice field. Let's go to race 8, guys. Race 8 is on the turf, and like I said, I'd be shocked if it's taken off the turf unless it's unsafe and major rainstorms. But I'd also be surprised if it's firm at this point, to be honest. It's the Modesty, which gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies because the Modesty was always run at Arlington, and of course Arlington is just a pile of rubble now. But anyway, we're going to move on from that. This is it's a mile and eighth, $400,000, older fillies and mares, nice big field. It's a ton of huge fields all weekend, guys. It's just incredible betting all weekend long. 12-horse field. Moyline favorite is the number 4, which I was a little surprised by. Heavenly Sunday, 3-1. Coxon Drew. By the time form, and I'm sure we're going to mention it right off the bat, by the time form, this horse is loose on the lead, but only Pete is the only one who really likes the 4. I've got the 6, surprisingly, as does Pete. And Paul's going with Aspen Grove, who I have in third which is interesting. Paul, let's talk about Aspen Grove, Irish spread for Jack Sisterson and Tyler G. What do you like about this 6-1 Irish spread?
Boy, I let me say, I think this is the toughest race in the sequence, Howard, first of all. So you'll see when we get to our caveman. I think this horse ran pretty well off a long layoff last time. I think she has every right to move forward off that race. She's got to deal with Sparkle Blue again, who's on the far outside in this race, with a less advantageous post, I believe. I just think Aspen Grove can sit a good trip. I like Tyler getting on this horse. We're really hoping it's a big weekend for Tyler. He's a tepid pick of mine, since we're using good vocabulary tonight. He's a tepid pick of mine. My price play in the race is going to be the 5 Moofy. He's my board. She's my board. Jesus Christ, I can't even talk. She's my board horse in this race. But I think Aspen Grove was my top pick of the 5 horses I used in the race.
This was a painfully slow pace in the Hillsborough. Sparkle Blue is on the lead here. She's the 10. She doesn't predict that kind of lead. Your horse, Aspen Grove, is this 4. And, I mean, look, she is just tugging, Paul, with nowhere to go. 52? Are you kidding?
52. Is that right?
Back. However, she is getting after the shuffle, she's getting a nice inside trip. She does accelerate well. She's a small filly, as a lot of the Euro fillies are. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I just want to point out she's a little bit smaller, in size. They're trying to come up the end. Right here looks like she's going to win. Is this a hang, Paul, or I didn't know what to make of this race for her?
Yeah, it's hard to tell, Howard, just because 52 is such a one-off. 50 is slow, 50 and change.
Yeah.
So you would expect the horses on the lead to have something left. It's just hard to tell.
6 month layoff too, Paul. So it could have been just a little short.
Yeah.
Off the
I don't know. I know one thing. Just even though it doesn't look like it on the form, all 1s on Sparkle Blue. If I had Sparkle Blue going 52, I would have expected to win, and I probably would have expected to win without that angst, another good word, in the stretch.
Yeah.
So
I think she would appreciate some cut in the ground too, just based on her breeding, Paul. I know she has
Agree.
She ran soft courses in Europe, and soft in Europe is like you don't even run on that here. So I think a little cut in the ground would help her. We'll see. I think she's interesting. I like the thought there, Paul. Now, Pete, you and I are going with the 6, and talk about surprisingly. I was surprisingly interested in the fact this horse was 5-1 morning line. Guys, I'm sorry. That's just, I know we don't want to dwell on morning lines. That's a completely ridiculous morning line. Okay, the horse almost beat Didia in the Breeders' Cup.
McCulloch.
Right, and McCulloch. And then last time was right there, McCulloch, and got into some trouble. We can show the replay. This is Pletcher, Rapoli, and Flavian. This horse is not 5-1, Pete, but you know what? I like her anyway. My only concern, again, I hate to bring it up, guys, but we got to bring it up for our viewers, is if the turf is a little bit soft, she has no form on that. I have no idea how she'd handle it. Pete, I think this is the best horse in the field, to be honest.
Yeah, I just wish she'd like to win a little bit more. We keep saying close. She's got a lot of closes there. You see, half, neck, half, 3/4. So that always concern you because for some reason just doesn't get the job done. But I do like the Pratt pickup, and Flavian for me always moves the horses forward. So I'm hoping he can. And now we're getting second off a layoff here, cutting back a little bit. I do think from a distance standpoint, she's going to be able to keep going. She's going to have her kick late. She had it 1.5 miles. She's shown it at 1 1/8 miles before. So I like the kick. But yeah, she's been losing to horses that I think would be probably the top choice in this field. So if she runs those similar races, I think she's going to be right there. And I would love it if 5-1 would be fantastic. The 4, by the way, sorry to deviate, Kevin B, thanks in the chat. The 4, Heavenly Sunday, was actually the horse I was thinking of, who's cross-entered.
Yeah, I didn't
Saturday as well.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I didn't think AG Bullet was cross-entered. But anyway,
no, AG Bullet is also. AG Bullet
really?
is one. Yeah, it says it on there.
Which race is she cross-entered in?
I didn't look. Hold on.
Okay.
You talk about surprisingly a bit, and I'll look for AG
All right.
Bullet.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, look. I think you bring up a very good point, Pete. This horse has got a lot of close seconds, but look who she's losing to. Market
That's what I mean.
segmentation,
Yeah,
consumer spending, Diddy and McCulloch, Evie Jets. I mean, you guys talk about this so well, class lines. I understand all that, but boy, I mean, if she runs her race, I think she wins, depending on the turf situation. She just seems to be the fastest in the field, but not by much, guys, not by much. And I agree with you, Paul. It's pretty wide open, and she's going to have to, catch Heavily Sunday, who you have in second, Pete, and Paul and I don't have anywhere. I just don't know how good she is. I mean, I know she won last time in the Miss Revere. It was off the turf. We've talked about this a million times. I don't really believe in those numbers, but she did run an 88 at Keeneland before that. So maybe, and she's only 4 and it's Cox. I might be underestimating her. I'm using her. Don't get me wrong, Pete. I just don't know how good she is. But she could wire the field. We've seen that a zillion times in these kind of races.
That was it, honestly. And thanks, Kevin. I just saw it too. AG Bullet and Heavenly Sunday are in the Distaff Turf Mile, which is the 7th race on Sunday. So we have to see where they land. But yeah, this was a pace play for me, where she's good enough that if she gets a clean lead and she does one of those get on the turf and nobody does anything, and they do one of those 50s like we just watched, then who the heck, then I hate to lose that way. So in a race where I didn't like a lot of the other horses, I wound up just saying, you know what, I'm going to go with the speed. At least I know most likely if she's in the race, she's going to be on the front and is going to give you a shot. Now, hopefully, surprisingly runs her down though.
Yeah, I just realized why I didn't know that AG was cross-centered. She's cross-centered for Saturday. Is that what you said?
Yeah, they're both in the same race on Saturday.
I know people are going to be shocked by this.
But it says it.
Honest to God, I've skimmed over the Saturday card. I have not deep dove yet.
It says it there. That's where I saw it. It says it on the PPs here in front of you.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Under the jockey, yeah. For anybody who doesn't know that,
I've never read it. I'm not familiar with.
Under the jockey, it says where they're entered. So in case anybody's not used to the DRF PPs, it says it under there.
Real quick, we're going to move on after this race. Paul, you mentioned Mouthy. I have this horse second, Pete third, you second. Again, we've talked about this a lot, and it's very true. Generally speaking, these West Coast turf horses come east, don't do as well. But this is really not a West Coast turf horse, right? I mean, she's been out east before she went out west. She looks like she's improving. I love Jonathan Thomas as a trainer. The mile and I'm sorry, is this a mile and eighth? It's a mile and eighth, right? Or it's a mile and 16th. I'm drawing a blank now. It's a mile and eighth. That is a little bit of a question mark. I love Troienne on this horse, and I think she's going to set a great trip, Paul. She's very interesting to me here.
Yeah, I agree with you about the trip. Yeah, this is one of my clever horses of the day, and who knows if I'm ever going to be clever, but it's clever. At least on Tuesday night, it's clever.
Yeah, I like Mouthy, guys. We're gonna find out. We got a lot of people in the chat. We really do appreciate it. I'm just looking at Kevin. Again,
you don't want to read the chat. They're killing you, making fun of you about weather and stuff. You don't even want to read it. Matt Miller's in there just killing you for your weather prognostication. Yeah.
Come on, Matt Miller. Bring it on, buddy.
Come on, weather.
Let's go.
What book? I don't even know what book he's talking about. I'm not, we're a book. We're not promoting that.
Pete, I think we just have a schedule change. We had Matt Miller on, and now I don't know if we're going to have time for him.
Let's just find some other author whose book is also releasing tomorrow and put them on the show instead.
Look, people want to crap on me. That's fine. I hate to break it to everyone. The weather does affect the horse racing. It is outside until they put a dome over the new track at Belmont, Paul, which someone suggested, which made me laugh. But anyway, weather does affect.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next race here. The next race is, of course, race 9, named after a great horse. And what a damn shame. But was really a great horse and a great story. 8 Bells. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen. I don't think we have to talk as long about this race, guys. I think it's pretty much a 2-horse race. Pete, I like your thought in this race, man.
Very interesting. 1-horse race, actually. Yeah.
Same 3. Let's go to it right now. It is 7 furlong, $600,000 for the restricted 3-year-old fillies field of 12. Morning line favorite is the number 1 Impel for Cox and Giroux, but that gal has a real rival here in number 7, Denim and Pearls, who ran off the screen, also for Brad Cox and Flavian Pratt. I'm going 7-1-2. Pete's going the same thing, and Paul's going 1-7-5. Pete, Denim and Pearls was absolutely fantastic last time. Can she repeat that effort? Does she need to repeat that effort to win this race?
Yeah, probably, or at least get close to it, because this is a pretty decent field. There's a couple horses I like. I mean, I think though that effort is probably better than any other one in the field. So if we can even get close to that, but you just gotta. I mean, I feel like I have Pratt in every race. I know in the show the other day, somebody was making fun that I play Pratt a lot. This is even a lot for me, but I just think I like this horse. I think there could be a hot pace. It looks like if you look at time form, it's projected to be a pretty hot pace. And I think Denim and Pearls just sits a perfect trip, going to sit right in sort of that second flight, hopefully the same trip she seems to always get, right around third. And I think she can just blow by this field. She's my best bet of the card that I saw so far. So I love this horse. And I'm hoping that they bang down and Pell odds-wise and Denim and Pearl stays around this. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Denim and Pearls was really impressive. However, and we sound like a broken record, that was the field that she's facing today is definitely more difficult than this one. But she did it so damn well, Pete.
That's the thing. You got to beat the field the right way, right? If you're beating a crap field, you got to pound the crap field. And she wasn't the favorite. I mean, well, she was. I mean, you know, so which is funny after the fact.
Pete, going 7 and a mile at Churchill out of the chute, I do not like the rail. That can be an issue. I love this post for Denim and Pearls. I think you know, what is it? Flavian can move whenever he wants on her. And
has a win over the track too, which I like. You always like that.
Yeah. Now, Paul, you're going, and that's my top choice also. Paul, you're going with Impel. Now, Impel and we're having a little Impel.
Wait, that's a bad omen, Paul. Not even showing up on the screen here.
According to you guys, she shouldn't even show up for the race.
I mean, they're basically just scratching her right now, right here.
Got a little tech issue. Okay, we'll get back to that. Impel, here we go. Paul Impel, Judmont. Boy, was I disappointed in her last time. I got to be honest. I thought she at 2-1, I was getting a gift. She just didn't get the job done. It was a very tough Ashland, maybe the best 3-year-old filly prep going 2 turns of the entire spring season. We're not going to show the replay because there's not much to show. She stalked and she just didn't go on with it. But, you know, lost to Leslie's Rose and Just FYI, 2 horses who are going to be serious threats in the Oaks. And I think Judmont just figured she just is more of a 1-turn horse and just maybe not 2-turn is best, although she won by 8, 2 starts back. I just don't love the rail. She can obviously win, Paul. What kind of trip do you think she'll get here to beat Denim and Pearls?
I think that she will be ahead of Denim and Pearls, and she is not going to get caught by Denim and Pearls. I like this horse a lot. So this is Pete and I are in a showdown here. This horse was way over bet last time. So if you thought you were getting a gift at 2-1, look at Just FYI in Leslie's Road. As you just mentioned, how it's going to be like 5 horses who take serious money in the Oaks. Those are 2 of them. I mean, that was a really, really good field. Now, I agree. She had no reason not to win the race other than she's not as good as Leslie's Rose and Just FYI, either of which would look pretty good here. So, I don't love the rail at 7 furlongs, but, it's only, it's not a 15. Well, actually, it is a 12-horse field, so I should shut up about that. It does have a fast
pace. Does that concern you at all, Paul, or do you actually like that? It has Denim and Pearls basically sitting in the pocket there, as you can see on the screen.
Yes, I was just pulling that up. Yeah, I would say that trip would be fine the way it's put on the time form, sitting in that second flight. I do really like. If you ask me what I like the most about this horse, Howard, it's the cut back to 1 turn. I mean, I like the cut back to 7 furlongs in all cases, and especially with this horse.
By the way, Paul, you want a nice stat for you for your one here? It's not a huge sample size. Brad Cox in route to sprints, cutting back at Churchill in the past couple of years on dirt. He's 6 for 14 wins, 43%, 9 for 14 in the money, and won his last 3. So
there's a stat from Mark Bogas.
There we go.
You want to read that off?
Yeah, Mark, thanks for the stat there. Route to sprint overall, 36%. for Cox, and even better at Churchill under some more
Like it.
even specific circumstances.
Like it.
Yes.
Like it.
Pete, I'm going to move on here, but we do have, you and I have the two. I just want to mention All Things Go.
I like that horse.
I like her too, and I'm not fully convinced that Diamond Pearls and Impel are the bee's knees. I mean, I think in a Caveman, I'd probably go too deep, but in an ABC, I'm definitely using this too. I thought she was really good first time out. And then the fantasy, she got a weird trip. She broke slow. She rushed up. She made a wide move. She flattened out late. She gets blinkers on. Rocco Bowen is a decent jockey. A lot of people don't know him. He actually rode at Arlington for a few years. He started out in the Northwest, I believe, at like Emerald and whatnot. He was really good out there. He's won races at Churchill before. I wouldn't sleep on All Things Go, Pete. You sort of agree with that.
No, I do, and the only problem with her, where I didn't have the guts to put her a little bit higher, was, the maiden race was sort of a slow pace and sort of got a nice trip, even at 25-1. Came back, was off Lasix, so you don't know if that was the problem. Was it the distance was the problem? Was it the fact that the three horses she lost to are all Oaks capable horses? I mean, West Omaha was in that top flight for going into the year.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? And she's just, we got to see it again. That was why. But for 12-1 underneath in the trifecta, or even in an exacta, if you can maybe beat whichever of the other two you don't like, I think this horse is worth a shot. Put the blinkers on, maybe get a little more interested this time.
Yep.
We'll see.
I agree. While we have so many people watching, just very quickly, if you're interested in a great tip sheet, we call it Power Picks tip sheet for those people that don't know it. Look below the video player in the description. You can get full card analysis of the Oaks and Derby plus a lot more for only $4. $4, Paul. $4. There it is. This weekend. It's part of our $16 a month package. We also have a full year package that is less than $16 a month, as we prorate it to encourage people to look into our Power Picks for a full year. Highly recommend people look into that.
Look at Kevin B's comment.
Put Kevin's comment up. The last
now?
one. Yeah.
No, Kevin, we cannot get full weather forecast with our purchase. But Kevin, I know you'll be shocked to hear I do have about a half paragraph about weather possibilities. Look, guys, if stuff happens and people say, "Hey, you didn't mention anything in the picks that it might rain," look, you gotta mention it. All right. Anyway.
By the way, on our website, just there are examples too of the Power Picks. We put the last 15. There's an example up there, so if anybody's curious, they could see some of the content. You get a little more on the Derby Oaks one than normal, so the one that's up there is sort of our normal weekly Power Pick. So check it out.
I thought you were saying on the Power Picks there's a weather forecast on there or something. A link to the Weather Channel.
Yeah, a little. If the font is yellow, that means it's going to be sunny. If it's blue, it means it's a little rainy. If it's gray, it'll be a little cloudy. That might be an idea there.
Don't give me ideas, Pete.
Little production.
Might be a multicolored Power Picks next week. Yeah. Paul can't wait for that. All right, guys, let's talk about the Edgewood. We like that. We have fun on the show. Race 10, nice race, mile of 16, $600,000. For the restricted 3-year-old fillies. Like I said, they're on the turf. Who knows it's going to be beautiful and sunny and fast and firm, I'm sure, on Friday. We'll see. Anyway, this is a big field, guys, and I'm very interested in a horse here. This is, Paul, you mentioned, one of your plays of the day. This is going to be one of my plays of the day. I'm going to talk about in the Power Picks as well. It's a field of 14, and I can't recall if some of those are AEs or not, or MTOs. We'll take a look at it in a second. The Moreline favorite here is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf Champion. One of two. Let me point that out. There's another Chad Brown in this race, Pete Visco, who cashed on. Hey, I wonder if Pete's got the 10 anywhere in his top 3. I got a strange feeling he might. Hard to justify, guys. The number 9, 2-1 Moreline, won the Breeders' Cup, like I said, Juvenile Filly Turf. Let's see who we are going with in the penultimate race before the Kentucky Oaks, if I can actually find the banner. That weather comic, guys, threw me off. All right, there we go. I'm going 6-4-10. Pete is going 4-9-10. And Paul's going 4-6-9. We are all trying to beat the champ. Very interesting. Paul, you're going with Buku. And I'll tell you what, I think you can make a strong argument that number 4 Buku should be the favorite in this race and might just be the most talented horse in the field. I have her second. I love what I saw from Buku last year, and her comeback race was outstanding. Talk about Buku, Paul.
Yeah, and I think that was a good race, Howard. I went back, of course, and watched that race. I'll be using Mo Fox given the 5 underneath. I thought she ran well. That was a big effort. Yeah, I thought Buku ran outstanding in that race. I think I had her too at 6.5 to 1. So
You did. Should we
that
show the
doesn't
replay,
hurt.
Paul?
Sure. Well, you can show it from the far turn if you
Yep.
so
Well,
inclined.
let's.
Yeah.
So Buku is the 9, who's going to get first run on Mo Fox given the 8, Danson and Dixie the 3, and then Simply in front was further back. But all 4 of these horses, the 3, 8, 9, 11, are running in this race. This pace completely disintegrated and fell apart. And Buku was making the first run, and I probably went a little too forward. Buku, I'll freeze in a second here. Buku is right here, and the horse that finished behind her are this 8 here and the 3 all the way in the back of the pack. Go ahead, Paul, take it through the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a classic turf race, right? They're all within about 6, 7 lengths of each other. But, this is a steady drive by Buku. And, it's going to win by a half length, which is somewhat comfortable in a turf race. But Mo Fox Given is really coming hard here under our friend Junior Alvarado. And, I just think all of those horses would be playbacks in this race. And Dancing in Dixie,
Yeah,
I believe it is. That's one of my that's another board horse of mine. But I know you're going to talk about the horse. I knew who you were going to say, Howard, when you said there's a horse that interests you, because invariably when you and I both like a price horse in the race, it tends to be the same horse. So go ahead, pounce on that idea, Howard.
Wait, real quick, can I just give my dad some props while we're on here? My dad's
Sure.
dog's name is Fox, and he bets names, and he had Mo Fox Given across the board, so he was a half a length away from catching a nice $116 horse. So, but he had her place in show, so he was pretty happy. I don't think he hit the exacta, unfortunately.
Guys, one thing that I hope our viewers and fans and listeners appreciate, especially people that watch our shows, because obviously we talk a lot about visuals. I'd like to believe that I have a pretty astute eye watching races. I have my weaknesses in terms of betting and handicapping like everyone else. But I feel like I watch a lot of races and I have some good intel. Do you guys see what happened to Buku there in deep and stretch? She stumbled. Which is why I'm even more impressed. Just watch again. Watch Buku carefully. She looks fine, and then she took a little like a bad step or whatever, and she lost. It's coming up right here, coming up right, like you see that, like she took a little bad step and lost her momentum, but now it's like she regathered, and like they were never getting her. And I know people are like, Howard, it's not nitpicking. I think she could have won by more, and she was also the first one into the fast pace too, so she was ahead of the others and stayed ahead even though the race collapsed. Now I'm going to talk about another horse, and the horse that this is my long shot play of the day on Friday. And it's the number 6, Pounce, who is the number 10 in this race. Guys, remember we talked about Pounce, who looked really good against Life's and Audible, and oh boy, I'm drawing a blank. You guys look at the PPs. The horse that was just on fire.
Ozara. Yeah.
She went by Ozara and Life's and Audible in 2 starts back, and we were both like, wow. I think we actually handicapped for this race, we talked about that Gulfstream race, and she won well the first time. She's the 10 in this race, guys. And look, she did not run well. However, this was she breaks fine. This was a very fast pace. And like I said, the speed completely, utterly disintegrated in this race. She's 3 wide, guys, into what was the first quarter? Is 22 and what?
22 and
flash it
4,
up here in a second.
Yeah, 22 and
guys, this is no bueno. She's 3 wide. 22 and change, and look, she didn't run on. We showed the stretch run. She's still right there, but she faded in stretch. We'll just show she does take the lead, maybe almost right, and then from here on out, it was not good. You see the fractions, 22 and 4. We don't need to show the rest of the race. Well, we'll show it because the other horses. She's in this blue teal, didn't run well. There's not as much speed in this race, guys, in my opinion, on Friday. And I don't know, it was her first start outside of Gulfstream. Maybe she didn't handle the Keeneland turf, or maybe, guys, she just wants it firm. And if she wants it firm, that might be a problem for me. She is way too enticing a price, guys, not to use. And I think Castellano's going to have her in a good spot. She has a work at Churchill. It's not over the turf, but a local work is what I'm trying to say. I think she's talented. She costs 370. That last race, Paul, was just way too bad for me to believe. You've got her second. If she gets the right trip, I think she has a great chance. Resolute Racing, by the way, has a great chance at like 7-8 to 1. I'm very interested in Pounce. I'm using her everywhere Friday.
Yeah, I have written on my PPs here right on my screen, Price Horse, and I agree. And not only was it fast last time, Howard, but, from the 10 and a 12-horse field,
Yep.
you got to use her even a little more early just to make sure you clear everyone. So, and, if you ran that through and I know the horse was a contention until mid-stretch, but I'm sure if you ran it through the wire at some point, Javier called it a day. So
I think so. This
yeah.
is the race. This is the Gulfstream race, by the way. She's here, and this is Life's an Audible. This is Ozara. These are really nice horses, and she flat out runs them down, and was sort of shoved out to the outside a little bit, and still ran them down. This race was super impressive to me. The 11 is Pounce.
Yeah, she got stopped a little bit there. She had to go.
Sure
that's another gear, and that's not easy to do. It's a classic turf. It's a classic turf move. But yeah, I'm with you there. I like Castellano in this type of horse. I think there's no way he's going to get cooked in that type of pace this time. Extremely more advantageous post position in the middle. So I'm Howie, let's get the 6 let's get the 6 in there, and we'll have a lot of money to bet on the Oaks.
Yeah, the turf races are tricky Friday in the sequence, aren't they? I think they're both pretty wide open for sure. Pete, I'm going to let you talk about the 9 and the 10, and then we'll go to the Oaks. Hard to Justify. People at home are saying, guys, what about Hard to Justify? She won the damn Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. She was 9-1 that day. I didn't like her. I was completely wrong about her that day. I think a lot of people were wrong about her. I mean, she wasn't that impressive, I didn't think, in New York, but she stuffed everyone into a locker, and congratulations to her. Obviously, she can win. And Pete, you'd have to believe Chad has her ready. Chad is no way going to throw her into this spot not ready. I still have my questions. I'm trying to beat her. What's your thought on Hard to Justify? You have her second.
I mean, this is the race you do try, but usually Chad Brown turf horses, I don't ever have a question about them coming off a layoff. He seems to always have his turf horses at least ready. I mean, what you want to just see though, I mean, if the horse gets bet down, I don't know if we'll get the 2-1 or it'll even go lower because there's a lot of ones and you see the Breeders' Cup win on there. So that could even be lower. It wouldn't totally shock me if she just took extra money. Then maybe this is the time you try and catch her. But if she improves at all, like you hope a horse would do, going from 2 to 3, then she's tough, man. I mean, she just knows, she has a nose for the wire, and you like that, especially what you were just laughing about, Paul, where that's the kind of turf races where you put a blanket over the finish. This one seems to know how to get the nose down, and you like that quality in a horse, especially under Chad and Pratt. So there's not really anything good or bad to say. I do have a funny stat which sort of threw me. Chad Brown, 3 for 27 in stakes turf routes at Churchill in the past 2 years, including a nice 0 for 6 in this race specifically. So take that for what it is.
Pete,
yeah.
Let me counter that, Pete, and make you feel a little better.
Please.
Chad Brown, 180 to 360 day layoff, which this fits right around 180 in turf stakes races, wins at 20%.
That's nice. I mean, I don't worry about his horses off those layoffs for some reason. He always seems to have them ready.
This horse has a grade 1, and he has another horse in this race who hasn't won a graded stakes yet.
Hey, you see.
Oops.
You see. Hey, you mentioned Howard on our. I hate to give away something from our tip sheet, but
that's all right. Good.
We're both using this race as our long shot play of the day. So
yes, I saw that.
We're going head to head in that. But yeah, thanks, Matt. I feel like I have Pratt in every friggin' race. So if he has a bad day, my tickets are going down the crapper for sure.
Is he Italian? I don't think he is. He's French, isn't he?
No. Yeah, French. But
Pete, let's talk about dynamic pricing. I find this horse, if there was more speed in this race, early speed, I would find this horse a little more interesting. But That last trip, I have to show it. We
Yeah.
have to show it. I'm sure you watched. It was the most
Yeah.
like passive, kind of disinterested kind of ride from Jose Ortiz. I know that sounds negative to Jose, but it like he waited forever, and then once he got through, there just wasn't a sense of urgency, Pete. It was weird, and then he like wrapped up late. I'm sure you saw the same thing I did.
Yeah, it's one of the. I
Now
feel
this
like I
filly
hate
gets
when I get that
IRAD.
trip. Yeah, I hate when I get that race where you're like, "What the hell are you doing? At least try with the freaking
We'll
horse." Because
show
I
it.
had this horse last time.
She's the 11. Go ahead. I'll take it in like the far turn, and you
Yeah, I
can
mean, I don't
talk
even know
about
what
it.
you. Yeah, there's not
She's on
even
the
much to
inside
say.
here. Go ahead. Go ahead,
This is
Pete.
honestly for me. I liked her last out, and this was one of those. What the hell happened? She did nothing. He did nothing with her. I'm going to just draw a line through it and hope that it means nothing. And you're getting a price. And I just would rather have IRAD. No offense to Jose, not that he cares, but I just would rather have IRAD, especially again on a horse like this. I love IRAD. We like him. He can time these off the pace horses well, especially on the turf. So I just like him. I like that switch. And I think this horse has talent. And I think we've seen the other Chad win many, many, many times. And
The pace
at
sort of
least,
held together, right? And here, look, he's not even like right. Like I don't know. It was just. Did you see that at the end?
yeah,
I'm
he's just
not.
sort of
I
coasting
love Jose
along,
Ortiz, by the way. He just
coasting along.
right, like Pete. She just looked very
Well, you see the tip
disinterested.
right there. So the horse was buried the whole time in the
Right,
back and then tips. And now you see the horse start right after that
right. Here,
9, basically.
watch right here. Well, here, let me. Right here. Okay, she's right here, and I know she can't win. Right. I'm not. I'm not saying Jose didn't try. Everyone, please don't mistake what I'm saying. I'm not saying Jose Ortiz wasn't trying here. He's right in the upper hand corner here with this filly, but he's already like wrapped up because he knew that she couldn't win, but she's still like moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, I think she could have been like here, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking. I just think the 10, I think that horse is a little bit interesting, Pete.
Oh, I know. For getting 12-1, I'll take the shot. I mean, if she
Yeah.
runs like crap again, I'm not throwing $1,000 on the win because I don't trust it that much. But at least I'm definitely going to have it on the horizontal tickets for sure.
Well, let me know when you trust a horse and you put $1,000 on him or her, and then I'll join you on that.
That's
for
true.
sure. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
Well, everyone better bring their pocketbook with them this weekend because it is just going to be tremendous. All right, guys, let's get to the big one here. Let me switch some banners here. Okay, this is the big one, guys. Kentucky Oaks. First of all, I want to compliment the betting and boozing guys who did an incredible job. Episode, I believe, is 74 of betting and boozing. I highly recommend that everyone check that. Whoops, sorry, that everyone check that out. Because I didn't want to do that, guys. I wanted to do this. Yeah, let me turn this off a second. I recommend everyone check that out because they covered the Kentucky Oaks like a glove for over an hour. We're only going to spend about 15 minutes, 5 minutes on this race. We mentioned this before. It's the end of the pick 5, the all stakes pick 5. This is a great race. I think you can make an argument this is as good a betting race, as the Derby, if not even slightly better. Even though there's 6 less horses, there are very few tosses in this race to me, guys. And the top line are really, really good. So let me go ahead and bring up the field and the special
Hey,
banner.
real quick, you should bring up TC's comment. It's the third one up.
Sure.
Just to give our B&B guys a little shout out on the
Absolutely.
screen.
Let's do that right here. TC Markham, Ben and Boozin yesterday was fire. Thanks, TC. Really appreciate it. Those guys really work hard, and I appreciate their efforts, and they really put together a good product. Check those young guys out because they are excellent. Anyway, post positions, there they are. Before we get into the handicapping the race, Paul, when you saw the post positions, anything stick out to you specifically? I think the obvious is 2 very talented horses are stuck way on the outside, but something happened last year, Paul, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty mischievous one from the 14, and just FYI won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies at Santa Anita from the 12. So I'm gonna, I wouldn't have picked it, just like I wouldn't have picked a 2 for our other guy, but this is my bet of the weekend right here.
Okay, well, I guess we should put the banners up on the screen and show everyone. I'm assuming it's the horse we have on top. I would guess. I'm just going to take a wild stab on that. It's race 11. Here are our picks. I'm going 5-13-14. Pete is going 13-5-8, and Paul is going 13-8-11. Paul, we got to go with you first because this is your play of the weekend. You're going with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Champion, Just FYI, 9-2. I'll let you talk about her, but I will steal your thunder for 5 seconds and say she has been working, by all accounts, unbelievably in the morning for people that believe in that. Let's talk about Just FYI, your play of the weekend or just of Friday, Paul?
No, both days.
Wow. All right, hit it, Paul. The floor is
Yeah,
yours.
well, 2-year-old champ. The race last time, she's trying to close into a slow pace. It was off the layoff. Is she cranked 100%? I don't know, but Leslie's Rose certainly had the better trip. You'll see that she's wide throughout here. She's the 6th, I believe, Howard,
Yes,
if I'm not
in
mistaken.
pink, and Leslie's Roses and the Whisper Hill colors on the inside. Now they're next to each
Yeah,
other.
Mandy Pope is the pink and gold of Mandy Pope. Looks like the Tapatrice colors. Anyway, I digress. So there's Leslie's Rose getting the jump, and you'll just see the wide trip from Just FYI. And Keeneland, one of my favorite places, but the goddamn same color saddle towels is the most bullshit, stupid. There is not one effing good reason for it in history. But anyway, that's a in-show rant. Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head, Howard. And I do. Look I'm no Maggie Wolfendale. Although remind me tomorrow night to talk about Maggie Wolfendale.
Okay.
I'm no Maggie, but this horse, I think, has looked as good as any horse in the Derby or Oaks on the track for the last week. And the last thing I'll say, for Mott to work this horse 3 times in 11 days is a very un-Mott-like thing to do. And when he does that, beware. Bill Mott, on Thursday of Breeders' Cup week, had to move Cody's Wish to the training track and have him go around the wrong direction just to confuse him because he was training out of his skin. So when Bill does something out of the ordinary, beware. I just like this horse. And, having said that, I think there are 4 other horses who have a legitimate chance in the race.
Christopher NG said, I'm happy she's lost the Ashland and gives her the right to win here and turn the tables on Rose. Thank you, Christopher, for commenting in the chat. TC Markham, no. I'm not going to show what he has because TC, we love you, but your comment 3 back is completely insane. Sorry, we'll talk about that horse in a minute. Eric Anderson loves Torpedo Anna. We're going to talk about her in just a minute. This horse has a big shot. I've got her second. I've changed my opinion of this race, guys, in the last 72 hours when I was able to deep dive. Obviously, I've changed my opinion since we had the draft. I didn't know that we were going to throw an Oaks horse in there. I had to do more handicapping in the draft. I have ways and means. I'm still using ways and means, but there's a lot of speed in this race, Pete. Let me show the early time form. You have Just FYI also. I'm curious to think, Pete, how you think what kind of trip she's going to have to work out from the outside as I show the time form USB.
Yeah, I actually don't. I mean, I'd prefer not to be as wide as last time, but I think what you see on the screen there is what you would hope for. Just sort of sitting behind what I think is going to be. Hopefully, I think time form is going to be right. There is going to be some pace up front. I just think FYI. I think just FYI, even with the trip she got last time, if she was fully fit, could have won that race potentially, but you could tell she just didn't have her full burst at that point. Plus, we forgot to mention she did, she scratched out of another prep. She missed some training. So there was a lot going on with her. It wasn't like it was the plan to start her in the Ashland and start her year that way. But I'm hoping that trip that time form has is about what it's going to be. And then I just think she's tough, man. And we're going to start off our fantasy week with a 1 on our side, right, Paul? That's the hope.
Got a big buyer jump too from last year, which I really
Yeah,
liked.
you wanted to see that because sorry, that was a good point, because the one knock on her and the one knock on the class last year was we weren't getting those buyer jumps that you hope to see later in the year. So it was good to see her, and she got time form backed it up. Actually it was even a little, it was just a touch better from a time form standpoint. So yeah, I really like Just FYI a lot, especially when you get that
and
price.
Pretty Mischievous was a little wide in her race when she won last time too. Maybe wide won't be bad. I'm a little concerned she might be hung out in the first turn though, but we'll see. Guys, this is not my play of the weekend or even my play of the day, but I'd say it's my second favorite play of the day here. And it's not my play of the day because I don't think the price is going to be like anything tremendous here. I really like Torpedo Anna in this spot. She's 5-1 morning line. Pete, you have her second. I have her first. I realized that last race she didn't face any, killers there. West Omaha, I know you're a fan of that horse, Pete. She's been solid, but not spectacular. I would say
disappointing,
Tapaginelli's in
actually.
there.
Yeah.
Lemon Muffin, who, in my main squeeze were, a little buzzy going into that race, didn't run great. So I get all that, but I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a visual here. I thought she was super impressive. I'm just going to show the stretch run. She also was a little bit wide in this race. And what she did down the lane, guys, she's 3 wide here. And she just goes by the field. I'll go and fast forward a little bit so we can move along with the show. She's right here. She did it exactly the way you'd want to see a horse do it. And she was coming off a layoff, guys. And I love everything about this replay. She's stretching out. She completely blew by this field. She's, mainly being handridden here. There's a lot more to give. And, say what you want about Kenny McPeak, but he called this filly a grizzly,
Grizzly bear, I think.
So bear. I don't know a bear from a horse, but anyway, I like the fact, Pete, that she's drawn further to the inside. I think that could play a factor. I don't think she needs the lead. I think others do need the lead or could be wide.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's going to get a great race flow here, Pete. And if I get 9-2, I might make a unhealthy win bet on Torpedo Anna. And I'm definitely, guys, playing this horse in the Oaks Derby double. In fact, this is my biggest play with that bet. I'm using others. What I mean is I'm putting the most money into the bet with Torpedo Anna. Quick thoughts, Pete, and then we'll talk a few others and wrap up the show.
No, I think you sort of encapsulated her pretty well. She just looked so good, and again, you don't know if was it just that day was she just really good, but again, you want to see that sort of move forward. And it was the first race of the year, first race at 3. You just want to see that, and that gives you confidence. So now the hope is there's another one forward. And if she takes another move forward, then she's just really tough. And that's what you're looking for in a race like this. And you hope, a trainer like McPeak would have her really geared up for this one.
Yeah.
The hope is she wasn't geared up for the fantasy, and this one is going to be sort of a level off or even a step back. That's the hope if you're rooting against Torpedo Anna.
Brad Anderson. I love you, Brad. Hey, HHH crew. Late to the show, but was wondering if you are offering HHH branded ponchos due to Howard's weather forecast.
I like
marketing opportunity.
That's
Brad,
a good idea, Brad.
That could be in the store, Paul, next time. That could be in the store. Let's play a little game here, Paul, between you and the two of us. Pete has Tarifa third. I don't have Tarifa anywhere, but you don't have Torpedo Anna anywhere. So let's do this, Paul. Let's push back on each other just a little bit, a little friendly game here, okay? Torpedo Anna, by the way, Pete, I also want to mention, second lifetime start at Churchill in November of her 2-year-old year, ran an 87, which is basically as fast as Just FYI ran a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no.
Just want to bring 100%. That up.
Yep.
Paul, I'm going to have you go first. You push back on Torpedo if you want to. And I'm sure you're going to use her in some way, I would think, but not your top 3. And I'll push back a little bit on Tarifa. Paul, what are your concerns with Torpedo Anna?
None. As I say, I thought there were 4. I'm using 4 or 5 horses in the race. I have her as a B as in boy, as you always say, even though we never pick D as in dicks. So, but I will do have her as a B, B as in boy. And this horse is also worked
what does C
very.
stand for, Paul?
Let's move
might
on
be a
from
little,
that.
well,
might be a little too.
Well, I think
Chad, Chad,
Pete's
Pete,
off the
sit for
Pete.
Chad.
Oh, sorry, Pete. Okay, Pete, don't get us thrown off.
This horse has worked. This horse has worked very well. I have no issue with the horse.
Oh boy!
But you know what? Look at what's Tarifa done wrong. Lost to Denim and Pearls. We talked about earlier. That's her only lifetime loss was that race, which was obviously a stacked optional claimer. 2 impressive wins at the fairgrounds. You could say 7-2 on Tarifa is a good deal. I agree with you. If you get 9-2 on Torpedo Anna, that's a good deal. I think that's why this is a compelling race. I think I might get 7-2 on 3-1 on Just FYI. So I have no issue with Torpedo Anna, but you told me to pick the top 3, not the top 4.
We might lose some female viewers tonight. We're totally kidding. I'm sure our wonderful female.
Honestly, I wasn't even talking about the female bad C word. So just to clarify that,
could be a lot
ladies.
of them. But our male viewers are loving it. Matt's calling us the funniest show in a long time. Eric Anderson says Paul needs his own comedy special. Paul Collins said his namesake is on fire tonight. Mark Bogaz is calling Paul Dice Clay. Reference to you fans of 80s comedy that we all, of course, like. Eric's laughing. Chris Couples, it is. I don't recall the last time I actually laughed out loud. Wow. Okay.
Well, then we're here. Anyway, we're entertaining the masses, Howard.
I wasn't sure where you're going with that, Pete. So anyway, I'll push back on Tarifa there, big boy. I'm going to push back on Tarifa right now. Okay. Yeah. You're Mr. I got to pick every Godolphin horse that ever lived as my, top choice.
I picked a second, by the way.
Second choice. It's still bad. Look, I love Tarifa, by the way. I'm just kidding. However, 2 perfect trips. And who has she really been facing? I mean, look at this field. I don't know. And then 2 back. Just the fairgrounds races, Paul, didn't blow me away from none of these horses are even in this race. Meanwhile, the Ashland's got like 5 of them. You have to admit you're slightly concerned about the fact that you're not concerned about her talent, but she hasn't faced the best 3-year-old fillies in the country.
Well, yet. Torpedo Anna beat Tapichinelli, who's going to be 35-40-1 in this race. What are we supposed to throw a parade for Torpedo Anna for beating Tapichinelli?
She beat a good field early in her career. Anyway, okay, we pushed back.
Intricate. Yeah, she lost to Intricate. It's a decent horse, but as my friend Pete would say, she's beating the Vivi's Dream is a decent horse. She's beating the horses who line up in the gate against her.
Yeah, she's really good. She can win. I'm just against her a little bit. Last horse we're going to talk about, then we're going to show our pick 5 and wrap up the show. Ways and Means. This was my top choice on the fantasy draft. I've gone the other way with her, guys. I'm concerned about the trip. I just think she could be wide. There's a lot of speed in this race. I'm not fully convinced she wants a mile and an 1/8. She's going to take a lot of money. I'm using her as a B. Not as in anything. I think she can win, guys. I'm a little bit against. Quick thoughts. Paul, you have her 3rd. Pete, you can comment, and then we're going to show our pick 5.
Yes, I got her as a B. I'll be honest with you, Howard. I will be surprised not much if she wins. I know, that Saratoga debut we've talked about, that was just a, off the charts race. And, the spin away.
A lot of
and this is the Gulfstream race you're showing, right?
Yes. She had trouble and then she crushed up. And this was off the light. This was a big effort, guys. Unfortunately, my girl Power Squeeze won at a price for everyone. But this is not ideal. She did run big here, Paul and Pete.
She did better. She ran better than I thought, Howard, going into the replay, if you know what I mean. I kind of went into it with a recollection that she really didn't have an excuse, but she did run pretty well here. And Into Champagne is in this race. So, Chad's high on this horse. This is the Klarovich buys a lot of horses, but this is a Klarovich homebred. That's why this is a great betting race, because you could get maybe 5-1 on a horse like this, who could end up being the top 3-year-old filly in the class down the line.
That last work was pretty nice too. You see that last work?
Chad said it was a little too fast.
It was a little too fast, though. He said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete, any
Chad's
quick
honest.
thoughts?
Chad is on. It gives you his honest answer. I like it.
I'm with you on the distance. I mean, the practical jokes going out to mile and an eighth.
Yeah.
Because I guess everybody's contributing the loss last time and the getting caught to her being short and getting the bad end of the trip.
Yep.
But what if also she just doesn't like routing that much, and now we're adding an extra 16th? Maybe
Right.
that's going to be too much. By the way, let's not short shrift power squeeze. I like power squeeze too. Power squeeze
Okay.
was good in that and just hasn't done anything wrong. Has gotten some good trips and is out in the 12. But
Yep.
just wanted to mention that horse because she's tough too, and she hasn't done anything to say that she can't win this race either at a double-digit price.
We didn't Leslie's Rose. We showed the replay when she won the Ashland. She's got the 14, but I've got her in the mix too because I think she's gonna take back a little bit and make a big run late. It's a great race, guys. The Kentucky
Great
Oaks,
race.
the late
Yeah.
ends the all stakes major late pick 5 on Friday. Here's our pick 5s, everyone. This is our caveman pick 5 tickets. Then we'll get out of the way so Ben and Boozin can come on in at 9 p.m. Eastern with a really fun show. We're going to do this quickly, guys. Pete's got 310 with 4-6, with 127, with 4-9-10, with 5, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. Pete, I'm not going to give you any crap for going over 100. It's the gosh darn Kentucky
The Oaks, baby.
$108. Real quick, 20 seconds on your thought on your ticket here, Pete.
Yeah, I wanted to go deeper in the Oaks because I just think there's a lot of value there, and I think you can catch any of these if they float up or if they don't take money in the horizontals. I just like a lot of horses there, so I just went a little skinnier and sort of went with my top picks in the earlier races. I think a couple of those you can get away with just. I don't really like to go. I didn't have anything where I need to go super deep. I just sort of liked my top end picks, so I said, "The hell with it. I'm going to go deep in the Oaks and let's see what happens."
I like your strategy going deep in the Oaks for sure. I think that's a good ticket, and that's going to pay too, Pete. Especially you get trademark home in that first leg.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Paul's going 310 also. He's got 310
Yep.
with 2, 4, 5, 6, 10, with 1, 7, with 4, 9, with numbers that look familiar 5, 8, 11, 13, 14, $100, Paul. Again, you're going too deep in certain spots. And like you said, you're spreading in that second leg, which is a tough turf race.
Yeah, and I know there are probably people out there thinking, well, he just told you his bet of the weekend is the 13 and he's 5 deep in the race. But, again, these pick 5s hopefully will pay. And, I do think it's a race that if Leslie's Rose wins and makes the thing pay, high 4 digits, I don't want to get knocked out by not having her because I know she's capable of winning. So, and I did think that second leg was the toughest. And I'm right on the number because I never go over budget.
Can you read what Mark Bogas says at the bottom of the screen, Paul? And then I'll give my pick 5.
Yes, Mark Bogas, who's had some very cogent comments tonight. Maybe that's what the C is for, cogent. Anyway, get the power picks plus DRF workout report equals possible life-changing score this weekend. Good luck, guys. All right, Mark, we like your attitude.
Absolutely. I like your thought.
And I will be playing Mr. Miller. I have some Oaks Derby double opinions.
Guys, this is the 7-year anniversary of something I don't talk about a lot on this show because, everyone's got great scores in their life, and I don't want to, dwell on it because I've had plenty of bad opinions too. 7 years ago I don't know if it was May 4th, I have to look at the date, or May 3rd, a horse named Abel Tasman won for Bob Baffert, I believe 8-1. And guys, gave me the score of my life to this day in a horizontal bet. Paul, you mentioned that you were one of 10 tickets in the Breeders' Cup with some buddies. I was on my own on this ticket, and I mean, maybe one day I'll show it on the screen. I was one of 13 people in the world who had the late pick 5 that ended with Abel Tasman, a 30-1 shot, won an allowance race with God rest his soul, Miguel Mena coming up the rail and winning, and that pick 5 paid around $34,000. For me. Plus, I had the pick 4. So I always have a special place in my heart for this late pick 5 on Oaks Day. This ticket at the bottom of the screen is not going to pay $35,000, but it could pay. I've got 3 with 5, 6, 12, with 1, 2, 7, with 4, 6, 9, 10, with 5, 8, 11, 13, 14, $90. Paul, I know you agree with this. If First Mission doesn't win the first leg, what should I do? Play the old pick 4, right?
Play a pick or.
There you go. I'm going to use others, obviously, in an ABC, but I like First Mission quite a bit. Guys, we've gone on here for almost 90 minutes, but it's been well deserved because it's a great card. I wish everyone a ton of success on Friday, Kentucky Oaks Day. Again, please make sure you look into our Power Picks tip sheet below the video player. We love and appreciate all you guys and ladies out there for the support. Wear pink, whether you're at home, at a party, whatever, for breast cancer awareness. And a shout out to all the ladies out there. And of course, there's male horses running on Friday as well. For my good friends at Ghost, Paul Halloran and Pete Visco, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 355 of Picks and Ponies. Have a little quick dinner and then come back in half an hour to watch the Ben Boozen guys talk about some great horizontal plays. Crush your bets on Kentucky Oaks Day. Take care, everyone, and have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.